Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we have a lesson that comes actually from a user request.
That's right. We had a user request who asked us if we can do something about a purchasing manager, maybe what his job does or what it is to be a purchasing manager.
So you'll find out all about that today in this lesson. It's an upper intermediate about being a purchasing manager and about vendors. So let's check out today's dialogue.
Good morning, Angela. How have you been lately?
Morning, Michael. I've been very busy lately. One of our other vendors is going out of business, and I've been searching for a suitable replacement.
Well, rest assured that you can count on us to be here for the long run. Please sit down. Coffee?
No, thanks. I've been trying to cut down on the caffeine.
I could never do that. I'd be a zombie if I didn't have my morning coffee fix. Let's get down to business then.
Yes, I've come to talk with you about ordering the 8-megapixel cameras for our new Mi phone. The demand for phone cameras is growing, and Pear has been falling behind in the market.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that Pear has finally jumped on the bandwagon. Right now our contract is for the 5-megapixel cameras. Is Pear still interested in having those?
No, we're changing all the cameras to 8 megapixels. We were hoping that by making your company our sole supplier for cameras, we could negotiate a better deal.
Surely. Let's get started by drafting a new contract.
All right, we're back. So a very interesting job to be a purchasing manager, a lot of responsibility on top of him. And we actually saw some really interesting phrases and words that are related to business, to negotiating, contracts, etc. So let's take a look at some of those now on Language Takeaway.
Language Takeaway.
So the first word we have is vendor. This is a noun. It means it's a job. It's the name of a person's job. So he is a vendor.
Okay, and a vendor, what does a vendor do?
Well, a vendor sells things. Okay, so the verb here is to vend, like a vending machine is that machine that you can buy sodas from. Mm-hmm. But a vendor is someone who sells things to someone else.
Okay, so I can say he is a door vendor. He sells doors?
Yeah, that's right. Or let me contact my vendor about the price list for these TVs.
Okay, very good. So we're talking about a vendor who is going out of business. And because he's going out of business, this manager is actually looking for a suitable replacement.
So this is an interesting phrase because these two words normally go together. We say, let's find a replacement. Okay, that's good, but really we want a suitable replacement. And so first of all, the word suitable means like appropriate or good. But what about replacement? What does this mean?
A replacement is something that takes the place of. It replaces something else. So for example, we have our vendor who went out of business. So what we are looking now for is another vendor, but not just any vendor, a suitable vendor, one that has the things that we need or the prices that we need, and in order to replace the one that went out of business.
Right, so we could say this about other things, not just people. For example, if I break my iPhone, my cell phone, very expensive phone, I am upset about it, but when I buy a new one, I don't want a cheap one. I want a suitable replacement, one that's about the same as the old one.
That's right. So you maybe you don't get the exact same one, but you get one that's very similar.
Exactly.
Okay, very good. So now they're going to talk a little bit about the contract, but they kind of do a little bit of small talk, and they're talking about coffee, and he says, well, you know, I'd be a zombie if I didn't have my morning coffee fix.
I know how that feels. This is a person who loves to drink caffeine to wake up. Mm-hmm. And so we talk about a fix as being something that you need. Okay? My coffee fix means the coffee that I drink in the morning to survive.
That's right. Okay, so we know the verb to fix is to make something good again, to repair. But in this case, we're taking fix as a noun, and we're saying that it's something that you need, like you said. For example, maybe in the morning you need your English fix, and so you'd listen to English Pod.
Exactly. You need it so much, it's like a drug.
That's right. Very good. And moving on, they started to talk a little bit more about the details of the business, and he mentioned that they want to make this company their sole supplier for cameras.
Okay, so sole, S-O-L-E, means only. But this word supplier is very interesting because it's very similar to vendor.
Mm-hmm. So it's basically someone, a company maybe, or a person that supplies you with what you need.
All right, so to supply is to provide for. So for example, if I work at a clothing store and I sell lots of nice clothing, I need a supplier to bring me the clothes that I sell. Otherwise,
right.
where am I going to get them from? I don't have a factory.
That's right. For example, IBM is one of the biggest computer suppliers or manufacturers in the world.
All right.
Okay, and for the last part of the dialogue, they said, well, I think we can reach an agreement. Let's get started by drafting a new contract. They're going to draft a contract.
All right, so this is interesting because we don't use the verb to write a contract. Now, you would think, well, of course you write it, but there's a special verb that we use with the word contract. So just remember this phrase together, to draft a contract, or my company will draft a contract and send it to you. This means to prepare a contract in order for someone to sign it.
That's right. So it's basically the same as write, but it's usually used more with contracts, to draft a contract.
Exactly.
Or maybe you can say to draft up a business plan.
Exactly. So to draft a plan, to draft a contract, this is basically to write something that has many different points, many different strategies.
Okay, very good. So 5 key words for you there. Now let's move on to some key phrases on Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
Okay, so there are a lot of really, really juicy phrases in today's lesson. The first one is rest assured. So we heard this from Michael at the beginning of the dialogue. He said, rest assured that you can count on us.
That's right, rest assured. So this is a phrase that you use to try to give confidence to someone, telling them, you can trust me, rest assured that I'll be there.
Don't worry.
Don't worry.
So let's hear another example of it. Rest assured, Marco, I will be there to support you.
Okay, so I know that you will be there, or I can trust that you'll be there.
Okay.
Very good. So to rest assured. Now, the second part of it is in that same sentence, well, rest assured that you can count on us. Okay, so what does it mean to count on us, to count on me?
So the verb to count has a couple of different meanings, and most of us are familiar with the other one. To count numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But here, to count on someone, remember that preposition on, means to expect someone to do something, to depend on someone.
That's right. So if you count on someone, means that you depend on them, you rely on them, you can trust them.
So, for example, in the sentence that I just told Marco, rest assured, I will be there. You can count on me. That means you can depend on me. You can expect me to be there. I will not let you down.
That's right. Okay. In that same sentence, we have another phrasal verb. Rest assured that you can count on us to be here for the long run. The long run.
All right. So we're not actually running here. The long run is a phrase that means for a long time. So, for example, if I'm in an interview and someone asks me, well, we're really interested in your resume and we really like you. We want to know, are you available in the long run, in the long term?
That's right. So if you say, yes, I am here for the long run, it means that you are here for a long time. Okay. And let's move on to our next phrase. When they're actually, they stopped with the small talk and now they want to get down to business.
You hear this phrase all the time because you don't just walk into a meeting and start talking about business stuff, you know? You start with the nice things first. You say, how was your weekend? How is your wife? How was that game of golf? So you're talking about nice small talk, like you just said, Marco. But when you want to start talking about numbers or products, things like that, that is called business. So when you want to start that, you say, let's get down to business.
That's right. Very good. So it's a phrase to say, okay, now let's start talking about what we came here to do, to start talking about business. And the last phrase that we have for you, it's a very interesting phrase. When they were talking about one of the brands of phones, they're saying, I'm glad to hear that Per has finally jumped on the bandwagon.
Now, Marco, I wish I could tell you I knew where this phrase came from, but I don't. Let's just talk about the word bandwagon first. I think bandwagon means something that everyone is doing.
That's right. So I think if everyone is, likes the color purple, and all of a sudden you like the color purple, then that means you just jumped on the bandwagon.
All right, I jumped on the bandwagon. So you think of a wagon as like, before they had cars, they had wagons. They're wooden and they have wheels and they're pulled by a horse. And so everyone is on there and they're all going somewhere. And I wasn't on it, but I jumped on the back. That means I joined everyone. I started to do what they're doing.
That's right. So I guess you agree with them, or you're going in the same direction that everyone else is going.
Look at Marco. He just bought an iPhone. Now he's jumped on the bandwagon.
That's right. So everyone is going in the same direction. Everyone is doing the same thing. Everyone likes the same thing. So to jump on the bandwagon, you can use it in the business sense. For example, if somebody is not agreeing with you or somebody doesn't want to support your project, you can say, I would really appreciate it if you jumped on the bandwagon and supported us on this.
That's right. So it's not always a bad thing, but remember that the verb that is synonymous with this is to conform. Okay, to do what everyone else is doing.
That's right. Okay, so a lot of interesting things here. Let's listen to our dialogue one last time.
Good morning, Angela. How have you been lately?
Morning, Michael. I've been very busy lately. One of our other vendors is going out of business, and I've been searching for a suitable replacement.
Well, rest assured that you can count on us to be here for the long run. Please sit down. Coffee?
No, thanks. I've been trying to cut down on the caffeine.
I could never do that. I'd be a zombie if I didn't have my morning coffee fix. Let's get down to business then.
Yes, I've come to talk with you about ordering the 8-megapixel cameras for our new Mi phone. The demand for phone cameras is growing, and Pear has been falling behind in the market.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that Pear has finally jumped on the bandwagon. Right now our contract is for the 5-megapixel cameras. Is Pear still interested in having those?
No, we're changing all the cameras to 8 megapixels. We were hoping that by making your company our sole supplier for cameras, we could negotiate a better deal.
Surely. Let's get started by drafting a new contract.
So talking about purchasing, it's actually a very interesting position. I think many or almost all companies, big companies, have this position where not only do they have to, maybe if they're in retailing, they have to purchase the goods that they will sell, but also in offices, for example, who buys the paper, the printers, the copiers, everything for the office.
That's right. And this is a very important position, as you say, because this person can save a company a lot of money if the person knows the right vendors.
That's right.
If the only vendors you know are selling things at very high prices, then that's not very good for you or for your business. But if you know all the inside secrets, you know all the good vendors, then maybe you're going to be able to save a lot of money.
That's right.
The role of a purchasing manager. The purpose of this topic is to help English learners at the elementary and intermediate levels improve their language skills while learning about the job of a purchasing manager. Many people hear the word manager and think only of someone who tells others what to do. But a purchasing manager has a very specific job. This person plays an important role in many businesses and companies. By studying this topic, learners will gain new vocabulary, understand how companies buy things, and become more confident when speaking or reading about business. This topic also connects to daily life because purchasing and choosing what to buy are activities we all do, whether for work or for personal reasons. As learners read and talk about what a purchasing manager does, they will improve their ability to describe jobs, ask questions, and talk about money and business decisions in English. This topic helps learners feel more comfortable using English in work-related conversations, and it may even give them ideas for future careers. What does a purchasing manager do? A purchasing manager is a person who helps a company buy the things it needs. This may sound simple, but it is a very important and detailed job. The purchasing manager makes sure that the company gets the right products in the right amounts, at the right time, and for the right price. This person often works with other people, both inside and outside the company. Inside the company, the purchasing manager talks to team members and department leaders to understand what they need to buy. This can include items like office supplies, raw materials, machines, or even food, depending on the type of company. Outside the company, the purchasing manager communicates with sellers or suppliers. These are the people or businesses that sell the things the company wants to buy. The purchasing manager must ask questions, compare prices, and choose the best option. This job involves a lot of talking, emailing, and negotiating. Negotiating means trying to get a better price or better deal by discussing the terms of the sale. For example, if one supplier offers high prices but fast delivery, and another offers low prices but slower delivery, the purchasing manager must decide which is better for the company. Sometimes, the manager can even ask for a discount or a better delivery schedule. Another important part of the job is checking the quality of the items. A purchasing manager does not just buy the cheapest product. They also make sure the items are strong, safe, and useful. If the products are not good, they may break easily or cause problems, which can cost the company more money in the end. This means the purchasing manager must pay close attention to details, ask the right questions, and check the quality before making a final decision. Planning is another big part of the job. A purchasing manager has to think ahead. They must know when the company will need more supplies and make sure to order them early. If they wait too long, the company may run out of important items, and that can stop work from happening. If they order too early or too much, it can cost too much money or take up too much space. Good planning helps the company save money and stay organized. Being a purchasing manager also means keeping records. The manager must write down what was bought, when it was bought, how much it cost, and who sold it. These records help the company stay on budget and avoid mistakes. For example, if a company buys something and forgets to record it, they may buy it again by accident. Or if there is a problem with an order, like the wrong item was delivered, the records can help find out what went wrong. The job of a purchasing manager requires careful thinking, good communication, and strong decision-making skills. A person in this role has to be organized and responsible. They must be able to work with different people, understand money and prices, and manage time well. Many companies depend on purchasing managers to help them work smoothly and grow successfully. Through this job, one can learn a lot about the business world and become an important part of any team. Understanding this role helps English learners talk about jobs, teamwork, and problem solving in real situations. A day in the life of a purchasing manager. The daily life of a purchasing manager is busy and full of many different tasks. From the time they arrive at the office until the end of the workday, the purchasing manager must stay focused, organized, and ready to make smart decisions. Every day brings something new, and the job often involves working with many people, solving problems, and finding the best deals for the company. A typical day for a purchasing manager often begins by checking emails. Many of these messages come from suppliers, coworkers, or delivery companies. The purchasing manager may receive updates about products that are on the way, price changes, or questions from team members who need new supplies. Reading and replying to these emails is very important because good communication helps avoid mistakes. If something has changed, like a delivery delay or a price increase, the purchasing manager must act quickly to fix the problem or find another solution. After emails, the purchasing manager often looks at the company's supply needs. They might check reports or talk to workers in different departments to see what items are running low. If the company is almost out of something important, like printer paper, tools, or materials for production, the purchasing manager must take action quickly. They may look at past orders to see where the items came from, or they might search for new suppliers that can offer better prices or faster delivery. Next, the purchasing manager might speak on the phone or hold meetings with suppliers. These conversations can be short or long, depending on the situation. For example, if the company wants to try a new product, the manager might ask the supplier many questions. They might talk about the product's quality, how long it takes to arrive, and how much it costs. The purchasing manager must be polite, but also strong during these talks. Their goal is to make sure the company gets a good deal without spending too much money or waiting too long. Throughout the day, the purchasing manager keeps careful notes about what was discussed, what was ordered, and what still needs to be done. This helps them stay organized and avoid confusion. They might use a computer program to track all purchases, make lists, or create reports. These reports are often shared with company leaders who want to know how much money is being spent and whether the purchasing process is working well. Sometimes the purchasing manager also checks the quality of items when they arrive. They may go to the warehouse or delivery area to look at the boxes and make sure everything is correct. If there was a problem, like missing items, broken parts, or poor packaging, the manager must report it and contact the supplier. This part of the job is about making sure the company only pays for things that are correct and useful. It also helps build trust between the company and the supplier. In the afternoon, the purchasing manager may spend time planning for the future. They might look at next month's schedule and decide what needs to be ordered early. For example, if a company is preparing for a busy season or a big project, the purchasing manager must make sure everything will arrive on time. They also think about how to save money or make the process better. This can mean finding a new supplier, making a contract, or asking for better prices. The day often ends the same way it began, by checking emails again, writing notes, and making a list for tomorrow. Before leaving, the purchasing manager makes sure all orders are placed, all problems are reported, and all information is saved. The job not only about buying things, but also about protecting the company's money, making smart choices, and helping other workers do their jobs better. For English learners, understanding a day in the life of a purchasing manager is helpful for many reasons. It teaches important workplace vocabulary, shows how to describe tasks and routines, and gives examples of how English is used in real business situations. Learning this information also helps learners practice talking about time, daily habits, and working with others in English. Whether they want to become a purchasing manager or just improve their English, this part of the topic helps them connect language learning with the real world. Skills and qualities of a good purchasing manager. Being a purchasing manager is not just about buying things. It's about knowing what to buy, when to buy it, how much to pay, and how to communicate clearly with many people. This means a good purchasing manager needs many different skills and personal qualities. These skills help them make smart decisions, avoid problems, and keep the company working smoothly. For English learners, understanding these skills can also help with learning useful language for job interviews, teamwork, and self-improvement. One of the most important skills for a purchasing manager is communication. This means being able to speak and write clearly. The purchasing manager must talk with people inside the company, like department heads and coworkers, and also with people outside the company, like suppliers and delivery drivers. These conversations often involve questions about prices, delivery times, and product quality. If the purchasing manager does not understand or explain things clearly, mistakes can happen, like if the wrong item is ordered. It can waste time and money. That's why strong communication in both speaking and writing is necessary every day.
Another key skill is organization. A purchasing manager must keep track of many orders, receipts, price lists, and delivery times. They often use spreadsheets or special software to manage all this information. If they are not organized, it becomes easy to forget orders, miss deadlines, or confuse suppliers. Being organized also helps with planning. For example, if a company uses a certain part every week, the purchasing manager should know when to reorder it and how much to buy. Good organization helps the company avoid running out of supplies or buying too much and wasting money. Decision-making is another skill that is used all the time in this job. A purchasing manager is always making choices. They have to choose between different suppliers, different products, and different prices. Sometimes they must decide quickly if a problem comes up, like a late delivery or a price change. A good purchasing manager knows how to look at all the information and then make the best choice for the company. They must think about price, quality, and time all at once. These choices affect the company's money, its schedule, and its success. Being a good problem solver is also very important. Problems can happen at any time. A supplier might send the wrong item. A truck might be late. A product might break. The purchasing manager cannot panic or get angry. Instead, they need to stay calm, think clearly, and find a solution. They might call the supplier, find another company that sells the same item, or ask for a refund or discount. Being able to fix problems quickly helps the company keep working without delays. Math skills are also useful in this job. A purchasing manager often works with prices, budgets, and discounts. They must be able to compare numbers and understand which deal is better. For example, one supplier may offer 10 items for $100, while another offers 12 items for $110. The purchasing manager needs to do simple math to know which offer gives more value. They also need to understand budgets and how much the company can spend without going over the limit. Even if the math is not very hard, it is still a big part of the job. Another helpful quality is patience. Not everything happens quickly in the world of business. Sometimes the purchasing manager has to wait for answers, wait for items to arrive, or wait for a decision from a supervisor. They also deal with many different people, some of whom may be slow to reply, may not understand things right away, or may make mistakes. A patient purchasing manager does not get angry or frustrated. Instead, they stay polite and professional. This helps build strong working relationships and keeps the process smooth. Finally, honesty and responsibility are very important. A purchasing manager is often responsible for spending a company's money. This is a big responsibility. The manager must always do what is best for the company, not for themselves. They must follow the company's rules and make sure every purchase is done the right way. If something goes wrong, the manager must take responsibility and fix the problem. Being honest and responsible builds trust between the purchasing manager and the rest of the company. For English learners, understanding these skills and qualities helps in two ways. First, they can learn many useful words and phrases that are common in the workplace, like problem solving, budget, negotiation, and time management. Second, they can learn how to talk about their own skills in English, which is helpful when writing a resume, talking in an interview, or describing their job. Even if someone is not a purchasing manager, these skills can be useful in many other jobs. By learning about them in English, learners improve both their language and their understanding of work in the real world. Challenges faced by a purchasing manager. The job of a purchasing manager may seem simple from the outside, but in reality, it comes with many challenges. These challenges are part of daily life and can happen at any time without warning. A purchasing manager must be ready to face these difficulties with patience, intelligence, and strong communication. By understanding these challenges, English learners can build vocabulary around real-world work problems, practice using language to describe difficult situations, and prepare for discussions about business and responsibility. One common challenge that purchasing managers face is dealing with suppliers who do not deliver on time. A company depends on receiving materials, tools, or products exactly when they are needed. If a delivery is late, the whole production or business process can be delayed. This can cause problems for many people in the company and sometimes even for customers. When a supplier is late, the purchasing manager must take quick action. They may have to call a supplier and ask for an explanation, or they may have to find another supplier who can deliver faster. These conversations often require polite but firm language and a calm tone, which is a great area for English learners to study and practice. Another difficult situation is when a supplier sends the wrong item or a product that is broken or poor in quality. This is frustrating because the company has already spent money on something they can't use. The purchasing manager must check every order carefully and act fast when something is not right. They must contact the supplier, describe the problem clearly, and ask for a solution, either a refund, a replacement, or a discount. If the problem continues with the same supplier, the manager may decide to stop working with them and find a more reliable one. This challenge teaches the importance of accuracy and quality control, and it also involves useful English vocabulary like damaged goods, invoice, replacement request, and quality assurance. Price changes are another challenge purchasing managers face. Sometimes the cost of items suddenly goes up due to things outside of their control, such as fuel prices, economic changes, or shortages. This can be a problem because it affects the company's budget. The purchasing manager must find ways to deal with these changes, like asking for a better deal, searching for a cheaper supplier, or ordering items in larger amounts to save money. When they discuss prices with suppliers, they use careful language to negotiate without damaging the relationship. English learners can benefit from studying how to make polite business requests, use comparison words, and explain financial limits in a professional way. One more challenge is managing time and priorities. A purchasing manager usually handles many tasks at the same time. For example, they might be comparing suppliers, checking the budget, writing reports, and answering emails all in one morning. This can be stressful, especially when something urgent happens. A purchasing manager must know what is most important and do that task first. If they try to do everything at once without a plan, mistakes will happen. Learning how to talk about deadlines, schedules, and priorities in English can help learners feel more confident when discussing busy days. Working with many different people can also be a challenge. The purchasing manager communicates with coworkers, managers, finance teams, warehouse staff, and many suppliers. Each person may have different needs, different opinions, and different ways of working. Sometimes there are disagreements or misunderstandings. For example, one department might want a very expensive product, but the finance team says there was not enough money in the budget. The purchasing manager must find a way to balance the needs of everyone, explain decisions clearly, and keep relationships strong. This situation is useful for learning how to express agreement and disagreement politely, explain reasons, and suggest solutions, all important skills in English. Technology can also bring challenges. Many companies now use special software to help with ordering, tracking, and communication. If the system breaks or has errors, it can cause confusion and delays. A purchasing manager must learn how to use these tools well and also know what to do when something goes wrong. They may have to report a problem to the IT team, write an email to explain the delay, or use backup methods to keep the work going. Talking about technology problems and solutions is another area of English that connects to real business life. Finally, a purchasing manager must deal with pressure. They are often under pressure to save money, work quickly, and avoid mistakes. If they buy something too expensive or forget to place an important order, the whole company may be affected. This pressure can be stressful, especially during busy times of the year or when large projects are happening. The purchasing manager must stay calm, think clearly, and ask for help when needed. Learning how to talk about stress, emotions, teamwork, and asking for support can help English learners feel more prepared for work in any professional environment. These challenges show that the job of a purchasing manager is full of responsibility, decision-making, and communication. But they also show that strong skills, careful planning, and the right words can solve even the most difficult problems. For English learners, studying these challenges provides a chance to practice useful workplace language and explore real situations where English is needed, not just in textbooks, but in the business world every day.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Having the right qualities. Suitable. To be sure. Certain. Assured. Phrase used to express a long period of time. Long run. A formal written agreement between two or more people. Contract. To reach an agreement on money, terms, etc. Negotiate. Unique. One and only. Sole. Person or company who sells you goods. Supplier. A long period of time. The long run.
Let's try that faster.
Having the right qualities. Suitable. To reach an agreement on money, terms, etc. Negotiate. Phrase used to express a long period of time. Long run. Unique. One and only. Soul. A long period of time. The long run. A formal written agreement between two or more people. Contract. To be sure, certain. Assured. Person or company who sells you goods. Supplier.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Suitable. 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 Long run. Long run. Long run. Contract. 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 Soul. 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 Negotiate. Negotiate. Negotiate.